Now it's time to start stitching the sock together. Cut the yarn about 10 inches long and thread it through a dull pointed needle. Get the stitches ready by first purl through the first stitch on the first needle, then knit through the second stitch on the second needle. Now let's start. First, insert the needle through the first stitch of the first needle as if you are knitting, and move the stitch off the needle. Then you're going to insert the needle as if you're going to purl the stitch, but leave that stitch on the needle. To the second needle, you're going to insert the stitch as if to purl, and you're going to move the stitch off the needle. The second stitch, you're going to insert the needle as if to knit, but you leave the stitch on the needle. Let's do that again. For the first stitch of the first needle, you're going to knit it off the needle. So knit off the needle. The second stitch, you're going to purl the stitch, but you leave it on. Now let's move to the second needle, where you're going to purl that stitch off the needle, and the second stitch, you're going to knit it but leave it on the needle. Keep going until you have 2 stitches left on your needle. For the last 2 stitches on each needle, I'm going to do the same thing. I will knit off the first stitch and purl the second stitch and leave it on. Second needle, purl off the first stitch and then knit the second stitch and leave it on. For the last 2 stitches, I will knit the first one off and purl the second one off. Now I'm going to tighten the stitches. After tightening the stitches, it is time to tidy up all the loose ends. Thread your dull pointed needle and poke it through the sock near the toe area, and then turn your sock inside out. Now it is time to hide the thread. Just thread the yarn through the loops and pull. Do not tie knots. Knots will cause blisters if it's rubbed against too much. After you finish, just cut off the loose end. Hide the rest of the loose ends of the sock, and the sock is now complete.